Hey YouTube, I'm back. I'm gonna do another Kitfox build update video. I've been seeing all the comments asking for update video on this thing. So I finally have enough footage and pictures and stuff I've been collecting over the past year or so of me working on this to share with you guys. So let's take a look at all the custom parts I've been making, like this oil tank, the header tank, a bunch of carbon fiber stuff. So I've been trying to archive all the steps I've been doing to share with you guys eventually, before I get to a next big step, which is fabric, which is coming soon. So wanted to get this out there before that happens. Let's take a look. Oh, so update on the Cold Firefly. Everyone's asking if I'm gonna fix it, I'm gonna sell it. Well, someone made me a really nice offer on it and I did sell it. It's in Montana. It's already getting rebuilt. It's gonna be flying around out there. It went to a good home. I have a line on a couple local ones if they ever come for sale, or if anyone has one to sell, I would probably make an offer on it. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep working on this. This is my main focus now, and I have some other flying activities planned for later this year to share with you guys that I haven't really shown. Maybe some glider stuff. I don't know. I don't think you guys have seen any of that yet, so let's see what happens, and I'll go over this and show you what I've done. Okay, so at first glance, it may not look like I've done a lot, but I assure you I have. I'll show you in a second here. It just, man, I've been building this thing for 2 years, and it sure takes a lot of time, especially when I'm only working on this thing a couple hours at a time on the weekend. So believe it or not, there is a lot that was accomplished here, and I'm working towards being able to cover the fuselage with fabric and get the painting this summer. So I'm excited to do that, but let me show you some of the detail of what I did. And I've been taking videos and pictures as I build different things and done different processes on this, so I can show you in this video and cut to some clips. All right, well, let's start down here and we'll work our way up. So obviously the landing gear was already built before, but I had since taken it all the way apart, powder coated it, put it back together, got some titanium hardware and spots where it was safe to use that. I now have my brakes installed, motorcycle Brembos on both sides. Pretty slick, stainless steel lines. Got a landing light right here that's not really wired up yet. It is wired up, but not really permanently installed. You can see there's a carbon fiber muffler and some other carbon fiber goodness down here. We'll get into that. Carbon fiber floorboards. So let's stick with the brakes for the minute. The brakes are motorcycle base. Since that's what I do, I sell motorcycle parts for a living. Have lots of cool stuff on hand, so I decided, since it's experimental and you can do whatever you want, I'm gonna try to use high performance motorcycle stuff instead of aviation stuff. In worst case, it doesn't work and I have to buy, off the shelf stuff, but I think this is gonna work. So I have these Brembo 2-piston calipers, custom hubs to make these motorcycle based rotors work. Come up with stainless lines, and they're actually Yamaha R6 rear masters, and these are the actual foot pedals off the motorcycle for the rear brake that I cut and welded and kind of made work with the linkage to get the leverage I'm after. And obviously I haven't really tried them out yet with the engine running because the plane's not there yet, but I have pushed it around and they do feel very strong. I'm sure gonna have to experiment and mess with that to get the leverage and the pressures right, but it looks promising. So I'm hoping this is gonna work. It's a pretty slick setup. I'm sick of having crappy brakes, so we'll see how this works. So 2023 was a year of carbon fiber for me. The last real job I had before I worked for myself, which was a long time ago, I did composite repair on boats. And I did that for quite a few years. I learned from a guy that was basically the master, and we did all fiberglass. So I've never done vacuum bagging or anything with carbon fiber, although it is somewhat similar. Everything that's carbon fiber in this plane, I built. I didn't buy anything. I hand laid all these sheets, vacuum bagged it. I took a bunch of pictures and video. I'm hoping to put some in the video here. Even my baggage compartment. These are foam cell with carbon fiber skin, very light. Okay, this is that same panel. See how light it is? I don't think I'm going to be putting that much weight in my baggage compartment, so that's plenty strong. And they slide open so you can access anything you need to access during the annual or for repairs or anything. I'm going to build these walls out in carbon fiber, real thin instead of using fabric. So you can see I'll have a pretty good little trunk space there, which is nice. Plenty big enough for my mission. The floor panels, when I bought this kit, this unbuilt kit, it had the stock Kitfox wood panels, which work fine. But I'm trying to go all out and do everything to the best of my ability with this build. And, you know, it takes as long as it takes. So wasted another month or two building carbon fiber floorboards. Was able to use the wood ones as a pattern, but getting them in there was pretty difficult since carbon fiber is much stiffer. Did get them in there, turned out great, saved a little bit of weight. I think they look better, obviously. I made my own little trim panel there. I'm trying to seal up the cabin so the heat works super good. You might notice I have a carbon fiber muffler on here. This is a motorcycle muffler that I had on hand that I slightly modified to work with my custom header here. It's made out of titanium. And I think that this is going to be super loud. And it probably needs to be twice as long and ideally not dump, you know, under your knee there, like further back. So I'm sure I'm going to change the muffler, but that's a very easy thing to do. But for now, that's how we're going to roll and see how it goes. Also, I decided to go with a traditional panel instead of like the pod. I just decided that I like this look a little better. And for the layout I wanted, this seemed to work the best. I'm doing an all glass panel. You can see on that piece of cardboard, that's going to be you know, it's just a representation of the MGL unit I'm going to buy. Fuel pump switches here. OEM YAMAHA snowmobile key right there. Trying to keep it very clean and simple. Hand laid carbon fiber. Okay, so here's something kind of cool. You might notice this little fuel light up here and the header tank back here that I built that we'll get into in a second has that sensor. So I programmed a little chip. So when I turn the panel on, it goes through, boots up, blinks to say, hey, the system is working, and it will continue to blink if the fuel is below that sensor in the header tank back there, which is about 3/4 of the way down, maybe a little higher than that. So every time you go to fly, if this doesn't rapidly blink like that, the system is not working. So figure something out. If it does do that, it normally would stay off, but since I've been running this thing here and there, it only has about half a header tank in it right now. So this is blinking, hey, low fuel, which would mean in theory you have about 10 or 15 minutes of fuel if that starts blinking to land. It gives you a pre-warning instead of a sudden stoppage. Okay, so we're on the other side of the panel now. And you might be wondering, what is this for? Well, that's your heat. That's off, that's on. And you notice when I turn this, it turns that. So that's just a little valve that controls the flow going to this little heat exchanger, which is actually a stock Yamaha deal with a stock Yamaha fan. And boy, does it put out good heat. Like just getting it heat cycled without the prop on, obviously, in the shop here. It blows really hot heat. So I'm assuming that's going to work really good. I'm pretty happy with the setup. You can just see it's pretty simple the way the routing is. Okay, you might notice that the oil tank is now different. So I had the original Yamaha Apex tank in here originally, and they've been known to leak. They're very, very thin and they're kind of stamped together. Once you know it, it started leaking before I even flew this thing yet. It had a little leak out of one of the seams in the factory, so I was like, well, guess I'm building a custom tank. And you can't really, I mean, you can buy oil tank off a few guys that are making stuff, but for this application, I needed a very, very specific shape to fit in the space I had. And I was able to enlarge the capacity and use some of the stock fittings and just weld it onto my custom tank. Drains there, and it seems to work good. Even got the stock level sensor in there. And I got some footage and some pictures of how I built that with the baffles that I'll show now. Added more baffles, and just from, like, again, from the Yamaha experience and the Yamaha Facebook group, guys figured out, hey, you need bigger capacity and more baffles, and then you'll have less foaming and aeration in the oil. So this is better anyway. So I'm kind of glad the stock one started leaking, so it just forced me to make a new one. Along those lines, I also decided to replace the factory header tank that came with the kit to this custom tank that I built, which is a little bit larger capacity. This seems to, you know, the stock ones eventually leak because the plastic fittings and with the metal, it's just where the threads go in, it's just not ideal. Where I was able to weld in fittings and bungs where appropriate, make it mount exactly where I wanted it. And you can see the way it's shaped when this thing's in a climb. It's drawing fuel from this corner where all the fuel is going to be sloshed in that corner. So in theory, it'll work really good. Obviously, I'll have to test it. Was able to put my little drain here, so it'll be sticking out just below the fabric. Yeah, I'm happy with it. You know, I don't have a lot of TIG time, but I'm getting better. And I was able to pressure test this and confirm that it hasn't leaked, and it's been on here for quite a while with fuel in it. It's never leaked a drop, so I'm pretty happy with it. These are the lines that will go up to each wing eventually, and yeah, the fuel pumps are right there. Oh, so on this side with the floorboards, you need to get to the fuel pumps. You just slide that open. There you go. All right, so we're kind of jumping around here now. I'm gonna show you the throttle. All set up there. Goes to the firewall, and I actually have it coming through the bottom, so it actuates that way. So that way you don't need a reverser. I seen someone else did it this way, and I was like, wow, that's smart, because otherwise you got to come to the top, and then you got to have a reverser behind the panel. So this just simplifies it. One less thing to fail. Okay, speaking of carbon fiber, I'll show you what I wasted another month on building. This air duct, okay? So you'll see that the radiator on this thing is underneath the engine. And it's at an angle. You can see that it's not really at a flat angle to catch all the air. But the beauty of airplanes is you have all kinds of airflow. I mean, you got the 6-foot carbon fiber prop throwing 100-mile-an-hour air. So all you got to do is direct it to where you would need it to go. So what I'm going to have on my cowl is, this is a model of my cowl that I made in CAD, by the way, if you've seen the other video. So that radiator is going to have this little NACA duct pickup. And that's going to be, these are going to kind of be sealed to the inside of the cowl, like with some foam blocks or something. I'm going to make something pretty slick to seal that vent, so it's basically pressurizing the air to go through my coolers. And then on the back side, you just don't want it to go into the engine bay. So I built this custom carbon fiber, basically air scoop, air vent, I should say, that directs the air. So that's sealed on top of the radiator, so the air gets jammed in through the front. All that 100-mile-an-hour air is getting thrown through there, and then it comes down through this cooler, and then vents right there. So in theory, that will work pretty good. And the reason why I did that is because a lot of Kitfoxes, they just have like the radiator just hanging flat in front. And that works great, obviously. But I just thought, hey, if I'm building this thing completely custom, why can't I try to fancy it up or slick it up a little bit with some kind of scoops and stuff? Because, you know, someone that flies a lot of gliders like me, that radiator is just a big air brake. And when you hit the air brakes on a glider, man, does it really slow you down? It's just all this drag. So I'm trying to make this thing as slippery as possible, even though it has these big balloon tires on it. Why not try to slick it up wherever I can? So that's the idea. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Now, the other Phaser Kitfox actually has the radiator flat, and then it has like a cowl. It's actually a similar setup. But traditionally, the radiators are just flat and hanging down, kind of below the cowl, and it's basically just a big air brake. And I just always thought there was a better way to do it. Worst case scenario, I'll have to reconfigure that because it doesn't work, but I'm pretty confident this is going to work. I don't see why it wouldn't. All you have to do is direct that airflow where you want it to go. So, big one-off deal. This thing was a project in itself. Like I said, I think I burned about a month building that recently here over the winter. Here's some shots of me, how I built it. Basically, construction foam and drywall mud to make the plug for the mold. Did some vacuum bagging of carbon fiber, a lot of sanding and finishing to get it nice. And there's the finished product. And you can see even, the only thing is I had to have one coolant line that goes down through there. But it turned out pretty slick. Pretty cool, huh? So all this will be sealed to that front vent area on the cowl. And, you know, so the air is going to be coming in here, get jammed into, you know, it's basically like a ram air hood, basically. It gets thrown in here, goes up, and then gets sucked out and pushed out. Pretty cool. So you can see I got a propeller on there. And I ordered this, I think about 4 months ago. I just got it within the last week here. This is an NR prop made in Ukraine. And I ordered it direct from Roman there at NR Prop. And this is, according to all the Yamaha gurus, the prop to have for a Yamaha Apex on a Kitfox type plane. I believe it's a SR 118 2000 millimeter, which is 78 or 79 inches, somewhere in there. And it, you know, it's obviously adjustable. I got it with the carbon spinner, the whole shebang. So I don't know if I'm going to end up running a spacer on this thing or not with the way I designed the cowl. We'll see. So if I have to put a spacer in there, I will. But for now, I don't need it. It's just on there with one bolt so I could stare at it. Not running it or anything. Just wanted to check it out. Looks really cool. Carbon fiber. Okay, so one thing someone might be able to help me with on this project is I need a 3D scanner. I don't have a 3D scanner, but I need one for like a weekend so I can scan my engine, basically firewall forward, because I don't want to go through all the work of making this giant mold for this cowl and not be 100% sure that this is going to fit right over this, because this is going to take me probably months to build. So if I have a 3D scan of my firewall forward, I just want to get like a Einstar or a Rev Point or something to use for like a weekend, or maybe someone can just come over and give me a scan and then give me the file. I mean, I'll pay you for your time or whatever to rent one. If not, I'm just gonna have to buy one, which is fine, but I just need it for this one project. So as far as the 3D scan goes, the reason why I want to do that now is because I have my prop with the spinner, the actual spinner and everything, and I can slightly redesign my cowl to work with either no spacer or realize I'm gonna need a spacer. And also with the final position of the radiator and the scoop and everything, this is where I have to make it all come together. So I got it close, but like I said, I'm not confident enough in it to just spend 2 months building a mold only to find out that it doesn't clear the way it should. So I'm gonna have to scan firewall forward with the spinner on to really do what I wanna do with the 3D printed mold I'm gonna do. All right guys, so there's the progress on this thing. Slow but steady, I am getting it done. I'm hoping to do some fabric work this year. Get that going, get ready for paint and all the exciting stuff. So we're getting there. It's been 2 years, but it's gonna be worth it. See you next time.